writers and lovers of books to come together to discuss the messages, the stories behind these books, so that the community can come together as a and discuss issues of the day, right? And so we have just started last month, right? And every month, the last Friday of every month, we're going to have this thing as a regular thing. And each time we will have an author coming by. It could be one of our authors, it could be an author from some other publishing house, or whatever, but somebody with an interesting message in his books to come and share with the community. Right? The next, I think in September, we'll be having a Cultural Medallion winner, Ying Pei An. He'll be coming to share his book on rebellion, a collection of his poems on rebellion, on exile, self-exile, and on resurgence. Yeah, resurgence, yeah. He will share it in Mandarin. Of course, he also share his latest novel, which is currently being translated into English. I think that novel is like 200,000 words, right? More than 200,000 words, right? But it's currently being translated in English. So he would be sharing it in Mandarin, but there will be what do you call a translation in English for those. Yeah. Okay, without any more ado, I will let Judith, who is the moderator, introduce you to the two authors who are under discussion today. Yeah. Remember, this is a very, I hope, what we wish for is robust discussions during these sessions. So feel free to ask questions and be, well, you can be, the questions be aggressive, but not the personalities. It doesn't have to be the personalities, right? But I think we are all in this room to really look at issues. So feel free to be robust about your questions, right? And I think the writers are equally ready to respond, right?
Not
okay.
Really.
Not really. Okay. All right. Okay. Without any more ado, Judy, please. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, welcome to this session of Afterwards. I'm Judith, and I'm moderating today to introduce 4 books altogether, written by Mei Ching Tan and David Liu. And I'm going to briefly introduce these two writers to you before having them read, and then I'll lead with some questions, and then after that I'll open up the discussion to the floor. Okay? So Mei Ching Tan is a writer of novels, short stories, plays, and children's books, and holds a Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing from the University of Washington. She has won various accolades for her writing here and abroad, including the Young Artist Award for Literature from NAC, and the Singapore Literature Prize Merit Award in 1994 for her short story collection Crossing Distance, which is one of the books we are launching today, as well as a commendation award for her novel Beyond the Village Gate, which is this book which we are also launching today, in 1992. So she's also the author of a travelogue entitled Towards the Blue Adventures of a City Wind, in which she describes her travels through the Canadian wilderness. Okay, David Liu, on my left, has written 4 volumes of short stories, including 2 of the books which we are launching today, which are The Fragrance of Durians and Wives, Lovers, and Other Women, which are both collections of short stories. Okay, so both of these books won the Publisher's Prize for Fiction and the Singapore Literature Prize Commendation, respectively. He has also published volumes of poetry, and then has had a short story adapted for an award-winning TV series. He is a freelance columnist specializing in aviation and customer service, and is currently residing in Canada. Is that correct? Okay. Alright. So today also marks the launch of a series called Ethos Evergreens, in which we are actually bringing back good local literature back into print. So all of these books were originally published in the early 90s, and this is the first time that they've come back into print since then. So basically looking forward to more such books from Ethos. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to invite Ms. Tan to start reading from her 2 books, and then after that David will do the same. So please start.
I'll read first from Beyond the Village Gate. This is my first baby, so it has a special place. from, this month is the 7th month in Chigwe. So I'll read from a part where I write about the Chigwe also in that world. It is now the 7th month, and I get more nervous every day. In this month, the gates of the netherworld open, and all the ghosts and spirits of the netherworld are let loose. They pour out from the dungeons and torture chambers silently, their voices all spent screaming for mercy. They may come with a sudden gust of wind from the west, chilling even in the summer heat. The lame or tired ones move very slowly, and if you are not careful and step on their heels or ropes, they will turn and stare at you with bloodshot eyes, bright red tongues hanging over their chins, hair tangled like seaweed. Sometimes they appear like humans, like the one I saw. They can be hideous or beautiful, and they will entice you under their spell, and then you are lost. One morning, the procession of fishermen returning from sea is uneven, a small knot in the middle. In the field, I look around for familiar faces, counting to myself, thinking actually only about one person. Xiaoling hasn't been well for a while, and she stays in the house a lot. I don't see her for days, and then only a glimpse of her haggard body, sitting curled like a prawn by the little grave on the mountainside. I have left her alone since she never speaks to me. She doesn't speak to anyone, and no one talks to her or about her. She's like a ghost. People avoid her and treat her with reserve. I remember I haven't seen her for many days. In a panic, I ran down to the field, to the village gate to meet the fishermen, smelling the mustiness of salt and sand and sweat they bring with them. What I see is another familiar figure, slumped and bodily lifted by the others, his legs weak as an infant's, his bare chest glistening wet and sallow. Father, I don't know if I am relieved it is not Xiaoling or not. Before I sort it out, Ah Chang, looking pale, shouts at me not to stand there like an idiot, and to go call Mother. It's a hungry ghost, Grandmother says in distress, as Mother and Ah Chang have Father snugly covered in bed. Mr. Bo is by the bedroom door, looking on. The other fishermen have dispersed to other work. We are not too sure what happened, Mr. Bo says, wiping his brow with the back of his hand. He was pulling close to see when he suddenly shouted that there was something really heavy in there. He said something like something is pulling on the other end. Then he said to keep pulling while he goes check. He was quite careful, but all of a sudden he fell. Me and Anand tried to get him out, but he got tangled with the net. By the time we got him out, he must have swallowed a lot of seawater. It's a hungry ghost, Grandmother repeats, while Mother thanks Mr. Bo for his help and sees him out. Father lies unconscious, face and lips pinched and white, his chest barely moving. Mother comes in and says, he just got a shock and swallowed some seawater, should be all right. Yeah, he should know better. Not so young anymore, should be more careful. With a piece of cloth, she dries Father's wet hair carefully, then just as carefully, she lifts his head and dries the back of his head. Shing, Mother says, go get some fresh water for Father. I run off right away to the earthen jars at the back of the house. I fill a wash basin with cool water, and I'm just about to go into the house when I see someone by the Lee's house a short distance away. He isn't doing anything, just leaning against the wall in the shadows, scratching his neck, looking at our house. I have a strange feeling I've seen him before. I step through the front door and peek out at the side. He's still watching. All of a sudden he grins, and horror fills me. Shing, Grandmother shouts. I jump, splashing water all over my shirt and the floor. What are you doing, creeping around? There's someone outside, I whisper hoarsely. Grandmother looks out. Tell them to come in. No, I say. There's nobody outside. What are you talking about? Grandmother says. Yeah, you spilled most of the water. Go get some more. Stop daydreaming. When I step outside, the man is gone. I stare at the shadows by the Lee's house. Maybe I imagined it. So this, I remember when I was growing up, we had a lot of stories about not going swimming pool and not going to the sea. So this, I think it is quite pervasive in the Chinese culture, this 7 month. Okay. Next I will read from Crossing Distance, collection of short stories. I'll read from the first story, In the Quiet. It has also special place in my heart. In the Quiet is based on something that really happened to a friend of mine in school. But I won't read about that part, so it's just the front part. So this takes place in secondary school. In the Quiet. The bell rang. Assembly's a pain in the butt, I said. 7:20 a.m. What better time to listen to A.B., Principal of Bore, give long speeches that wound around our necks until we choked. The whole school, from primary 1s to secondary 4s, had to line up in the courtyard like toothpicks in a box. We fidgeted. The ground was rough cement in patches and smooth most everywhere, probably polished by many, many shuffling feet like ours. When we were released into church for the morning sermon, Jenny said, "Maybe if I come late, I don't have to attend assembly. But if you come late, the prefects will catch you, and then you have to go to detention," I said. We sighed, sitting down on the hard benches in the chapel. At least it was cooler inside. Our school was a mission school. No nun teachers this day and age, but regular teachers who got pregnant now and then, and teachers like Mrs. C who had children, though we didn't want to imagine how she might have gotten them. The morning yawning session started. As always, the Reverend talked into his Bible and gestured dramatically with his free hand. A few of us at the back watched Ellen. She sat perfectly still for the first few minutes. Then her head nodded more and more heavily. "Let us sing hymn 160, the Reverend said. Ellen woke up long enough to stand, but right into the first line of the hymn, she started nodding and almost fell over. Audrey, out of the kindness of her youth, put out a hand to steady her. The rest of us tried to keep a straight face. School was a place to cultivate the art of getting out of things. Getting out of class before the bell rang. "Teacher, must go toilet, very high tide." Getting out of doing homework. "That chapter was done in my old exercise book." "Really? I threw it away already." Getting out of classroom duties. "Pick up the big rubbish, dust you can't see. Floor is grey, what?" How to get out of maths class? I asked rhetorically as we filed out of church for classes. Audrey said, "I have a way." Huh? I wanted her to elaborate. But E.T. was already in class writing out sums on the blackboard. "Yeah, cockroach," someone said. Immediately, someone else shrieked. I saw something brown scuttling across the floor and stepped on it. It got mushed. "Yuck," Ellen said. I shrugged. I wasn't afraid of spiders or lizards or rats either, dead or alive. I wasn't even afraid of teachers. "Come here, Mrs. Chu," alias E.T. gestured to me when we sat down and took out our books. "Why didn't you complete the longitude and latitude problems in the maths test?" "Don't like them." I could feel everyone's eyes and ears on me. Mrs. Chu frowned. "You have to try." "Why? I passed the test, right?" She frowned some more, nothing to say. I could feel the respect barometer rise in the class. "Oh, you're very brave," Audrey told me after class, turning around in her seat just in front of me. "Hey, what plan you got to escape assembly?" I said. Before she could tell me, Mrs. Ho came in and started composition. Audrey turned back to her desk. "A trip at sea," Mrs. Ho said. Some people groaned. I started writing right away. There was a dream I had always remembered. I probably had it when I was about 9. I was walking by some speckled marble seats when a great flood came and swallowed me underwater. I saw glistening fishes swimming around. Someone floated by limply. I grabbed her and tried to make for the surface. A shark came. I swam like crazy. The woman slowed me down, but I couldn't abandon her. The shark closed down on us. I cringed for the pain of sharp teeth. I was so afraid. But there was no sharp teeth, no pain. The shark had no teeth. Total gumball. The shark forgot to wear its dentures. It swallowed us whole and spit us out, propelling us like torpedoes. This shark didn't eat dead people. I realized the person I was carrying was long gone. I didn't know that, but she saved my life. I reached up and found a marble seat. I pulled myself out. Safe! I looked down. Everything was gone. The water, the fishes. The sidewalk was bone dry. The water had only been as high as the marble seats. Why didn't I just stand up? I stopped writing here. I remembered the thought that came to me in the dream all those years ago. What was appearance and apparent was deceiving. Beyond the fabric of our world were other worlds, and every now and then paths crossed, chaos ensued, but it was only a passing, and it will pass away. Awake, I had thought, I changed the world I was in when I wanted it badly enough. I made everything work out. "Geez, you read too many books," Jenny said over my shoulder. I wondered how to end my composition. I couldn't write down those thoughts I had. They scared even me. So I wrote, "That was my most memorable trip at sea." Okay, I'll stop there.